Hey, boys and girls, it's Challenge Out Co-op.
Hey, what's up?
What up? It's Grim and Shaf as usual, and we're here again to speak on What If. We've kind of had issues. We have a busy upcoming few months. My brother's getting married. He's getting married.
Apparently so.
Oh, yeah. And so, we just kind of been kind of wrapped up with those two things. So, but yeah, anyway, What If, we're going to continue.
Yeah, so Disney's What If Marvel miniseries that is, it's just kind of a PR, HR, marketing, Q&R or whatever, just like this, running the gamut of what sticks, throwing things at the wall and see what's popular. What we talked about prior with the first two episodes in terms of Captain Peggy Carter or Captain Carter.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then it was the What If Star-Lord was Chadwick Boseman's character.
Yeah, What If T'Challa was Star-Lord.
So we both agreed they're entertaining. The art is done very well.
Cool. Yeah.
The voice actors really makes an impactful difference instead of just getting some others. They haven't gotten every single voice actor for every single character, but they try to do it as best as possible, I'm sure, for scheduling reasons. But we're talking about the last 4 episodes that came out, so we're at 6 at the shooting of this episode. What If Killmonger came out 2 days ago.
Yeah.
It is, how many episodes are there? I can't remember. There are 9 episodes for the season. Last one premiering in October. So,
wait, what are we on now? Oh, okay, so we have 3.
Yeah, 6. You got 3 more. So, we'll go into that before we go into that first one, some of the development in the last 4 episodes that are just broad there seems to be a more of a impactfulness of the watcher. He seems to be more present. Before he would blend in. Yeah. And now you can actually see face and more of his body. Mm-hmm. It seems like they're going to a reveal where he's going to actually be in the episode and affecting. And
technically he can't, though.
He technically can't, but it's leading. I'm getting the feeling that that's possibly happening in the future. And then secondarily...
he could advise, but I don't think he can interfere. Yeah. I could see, maybe, we'll see, of course. Things are getting crazier and crazier.
Yeah. The other thing is just a lot of the What If seem to lead on a cliffhanger at this point. We know that they've already re-upped for a second season, so I don't know if these are going to be continuation episodes or they just really let off as a What If, and you're just thriving and wanting for more.
I think, for what I read online is they do have plans for the long term, and that Peggy Carter, they're actually thinking about introducing her into the main MCU and stuff like that.
As a spin-off or?
No, they're thinking about with the multiverse thing, bringing her in.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
There's talks with that. There's talks with I know they're going to do the second episode for zombies for sure, and then the second episode for
Doctor Strange.
No, because Strange ended.
It did, but technically there's a teaser trailer that came out for episode.
Maybe it was for you know what, it was for T'Challa actually as Star-Lord.
Yeah.
So, and then I think they're doing Killmonger as well, right? Because I felt so.
3 episodes, we'll see.
Okay. But yeah, so anyway, I do know they're continuing it. I don't know if it's this season or next one, but I know they have the idea that they want to continue fleshing out these stories. I know Zombies for sure has a sequel.
Okay, that's cool. It's very very popular, that concept, but we'll jump into the zombies in a second once we get to that episode. The first episode we're talking about is episode 3. It's the death of the Mightiest Heroes, which would basically be the episode in which miraculously each member of the original Avengers are dying.
Yeah.
And you don't know how or why. It seems like there's some sort of calculated killer killing all these people. I think originally it was Tony Stark. And then it led then to
Captain? Was it Captain America or was
he was frozen at the end of the episode. So it was Thor.
That's right.
With an arrow.
Salvation.
Yep. And then Hawkeye died after that.
That's right.
Then Hulk. Then Black Widow. And I think that's everyone, if I'm not mistaken.
Thor,
I already said Thor.
Oh, did you? Oh, okay.
Yeah, because it went Tony Stark, Thor, Hawkeye, Hulk, Black Widow.
Okay.
And then you kind of like it's basically like what if was it Hope Van Dyne? No, was it? No.
Yeah, Hope Van Dyne.
Yeah, Hope Van Dyne dies on a mission for.
Or no. You're talking about the mother. Sorry.
So it's Janet Van Dyne is the mother. So it's Hope Pym.
Hope Pym's the one that's trying to correct it.
Yeah.
Right at the end.
So the episode is with Hank.
Or no,
Pym.
I'm confusing zombies.
Yeah, Hank Pym is avenging Hope dying because she got sent out on a mission by Nick Fury for S.H.I.E.L.D. She dies, and Hank doesn't think S.H.I.E.L.D. did her justice by honoring her as a person. It's just another soldier. So next man up type of mentality. And it's basically, spoiler alert, Ant-Man is the one behind it all, using his Pym particles, killing people in all different types of ways.
Yeah.
So I think it was for Tony, the injection that they used for his arc reactor malfunctioned and killed him. For Thor, he basically attacked Hawkeye's hand to make him fire, even though in Hawkeye's mind he never messed with it. He went internally for Hawkeye. He threw that little, it looks like a shuriken that makes things bigger or larger on Hulk's heart, and then I think he just beat up Black Widow and killed her.
Is that what it was? Okay.
I think so. So I mean, the episode.
What did he do for Hawkeye though?
He went inside his body, and I think he like.
Did he make his head explode? Is that what it was?
No, because he died. Like because his head was like this, he was slumped over. They thought he was depressed, but then his head went like this, and he fell over.
That's right. That's
so
right.
I think he maybe yes. Cyanide or yeah, I don't know. But yeah, so that particular episode, it was okay. It was interesting to see how, in certain circumstances, the Avengers, who seem almighty and they don't die, just die randomly. And then on top of that, it definitely was unique in the fact that the trope in comic books is you can never kill anyone because they'll always come back. This one, because it's a different variant or universe or multiverse, they all dead.
Yeah.
So it was unique. It was entertaining. It wasn't the best.
Right. I think I've come to realize is what it is, and I know in my previous video I mentioned that that I didn't really like Winter Soldier because of all the spy BS. You know what? I think I after watching this episode, I figured it out. I was like, I don't fucking like S.H.I.E.L.D. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I'm not a S.H.I.E.L.D. guy, and I think they're.
So you're more of a Pokemon Sword guy. No.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, actually, I was. But yeah. So it's like I don't know. I like Nick Fury's fine. I like him. Like I like how he is, but just the agency in and of itself, it's just kind of like I find they're always shady. It's corrupt. It's also a shit like they don't really care about like the heroes or anybody else just to further their agenda.
I mean, if you look at the Marvel MCU as a whole, in terms of corrupt, it was already corrupted by Hydra for many years, and secondarily, you got that question of like after Endgame, like, well, how much did you get paid? Are you freelancers? And like in WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier, they're not being taken care of. Yes, you can destroy buildings and you can get your butt kicked and you can go out and kill aliens and monsters and witches and stuff like that, but the compensation really isn't there. They clearly need to unionize, but it's something that's just not there.
I don't know. I just kind of feel like what is it? ARM? No, ARM's the evil one. I'm thinking about DC, the one that started Suicide Squad. Now I can't even fucking think of it.
The African American lady?
Yeah, well, who Waller's for, who works for. I can't remember.
I don't remember. I don't know DC as much as you do.
Bella Reeve.
Okay.
So anyway, but I don't know what the agency is. But anywho,
Throw it out there.
Yeah, well, I'll research it, of course, later.
But away, you'll just slap yourself like, damn it, how did I not know
exactly,
this?
right? Like, goddamn. Anyway, yeah, so, I've always kind of thought they handled that a little better with, like, the shiesty, like,
It's a corrupt corporation, but it's not veiled over something. It's legit corrupt in many facets.
Well, yes, it is, but it's on the face about it. It's not like smoke and mirrors. Like, ooh, are we spies? Are we triple agent spies? Like, come on. It's just, I think when you do that stupid, like I talked about it previously, the constant like, gotcha, oh, gotcha. It's like, all right, fuck, man. Like, you can only handle so much. Like, 1 or 2 gotchas, fine. 3, okay.
Unless you're in Japan, then there's gotcha machines everywhere. No,
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
yeah.
But the other thing is, it's just like what I've realized, and not necessarily it's the fault of the writing or the fault of the story, but because we're a little more, I would say, mature by age, we've seen a lot of the quote-unquote gotchas. So if it's not fresh and it's not something new and unexpected, even if it's a triple, quadruple, quintuple gotcha, it just kind of is like, okay, cool, whatever. We've seen this before.
Yeah, well, and I think the way that they kind of portray it too is just, it's you know, been there, done that. They don't really bring fresh life to it, and it's like, or they don't have fun with it, or you know, or make it.
So they either take it too seriously or too lighthearted, and then it just kind of
well, not even that. I wouldn't say they really do lighthearted, because it's like with all the reveals that they have, like with Robert Redford's character and stuff like that. I was just kind of like, it was like. Like, it was like, yeah, I'm evil, by the way. And it's like, oh, okay. And, oh, yeah, you know that Winter Soldier guy? Yeah, that's basically because of me. Okay. Like, you know, and then Byron, Lord Zemo. But,
Baron Zemo.
Baron Zemo, thank you. And, so, yeah, so, you know, it's... I wasn't a big fan. Hank Pym, like, I know it sounds dumb, but like, I know who he is and his history with the Avengers and everything else, and so that's why I think why they went with this, because actually he was the original Avenger, the founded one, and he's had a very checkered history. Like, he's abused his wife, and like, I think. What else did he do? He did something else. But yeah, anyway, it's just like he's not really a good person.
Right.
And when it comes down to it.
He sacrifices for his science instead of sacrificing for things that mean something.
Well, he's also a dick. I mean, wholeheartedly. But, and like, which I thought it was cool with what they were trying to do and stuff like that. And like, it was like, okay, fine. Like, I just... didn't really think they had the gusto like the others
to
had.
Summarize, great, unique idea, failed to land.
Yeah.
So, well, that was, episode 3. And when you make a series like this, you can't hit on all cylinders no matter what. I mean,
no.
I think in terms of the Marvel shows, I think the closest one was Loki, and even if Loki had 1 or 2 episodes, so you're like, okay, that was okay, right? So we'll dive into episode 4 now, which was what if Doctor Strange lost his heart and not his hands?
Yeah.
So the relative premises, spoiler alert, is Dr. Stephen Strange, as you saw from his movie, the origin story is he's driving in his really classy sports car, falls off of a cliff, and his hands get destroyed in a car accident, and he can no longer continue being a surgeon. Mm-hmm. This particular episode, he is still dating Rachel McAdams' character. I forget her name. We'll throw it up there. Still dating her. That's her real name. I don't know.
No. I don't know. Anyway.
It'll come to us, I'm sure. She's still dating Steven, and they have a relative relationship, whereas before, Steven took her for granted and lost her. Still as a friend, but not as a
romantic
interest, yes. Yeah. So then, instead of him losing his hands, it's not like he has cardiac arrest and dies. His girlfriend dies. And
the love of his life.
Right. And so, basically how that works out is he goes to Comatage, I'm sure I'm butchering it a little bit, because he's lost and trying to figure out how to fix his brokenness, and he still becomes Doctor Strange and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And it seems like the 2nd or 5th anniversary of said incident, he takes the Eye of Agamotto after the Ancient One passes on to go back in time and see if there is a possibility that he can save his girlfriend, Rachel McAdams' character. Mm-hmm. It's going to be bothering me, so I will look up in a second. Schaefer will take over and talk a little bit about this episode.
Yeah, I mean, it was cool. I mean, in the part where it showed basically him constantly going back and trying to change the event, and like, I mean, he literally tries everything, and it shows it to you like quickly. And every time he does something, she just ends up dying anyway. And of course, later on, the Grandmaster, right, or Sorcerer Supreme, I forget her name. But yeah, so anyway, she comes out and basically tells him like there's nothing he can do because it's a Nexus event, and doing anything that changes that outcome would completely dissolve the universe that he lives within, and you know, he kind of fights her and whatever, and then does he absorb her? No, because she
Christine.
goes. It's Christine. Because then he doesn't absorb her because then she splits him in two, and that's what causes the. I forgot about that. So, but yeah, anyway. So you start getting a Doctor Strange who he ends up finding out that to bring her back, Christine back, he needs to have so much power, that of which not a lot of people have, and to basically cause like this rift and create her out of nothing, essentially.
Yeah, so essentially, there are certain points in history, as the Ancient One foretold, there are fixed points. No matter what you do, you can't change it. Mm-hmm. But he heard of a possibility of getting this relative power by having enough sorcerer's power. He could essentially change these fixed points. And his journey goes on from going back in time and learning things from some of the original Grandmasters, mm-hmm. and then absorbing creatures or demons or whatever they may be. I don't think they labeled all of them per se.
No, not really.
And he becomes stronger, and you can see it with each possession, I'll call it.
Absorption.
He himself changes a little bit, and you can see how he changes. And it's almost like a Kirby absorbing people and taking their power. And with that said, he finally gets this power, and he has to face off with the other split of Dr. Stephen Strange, mm-hmm. the one that the Ancient One split in half, so the one that was on the righteous path of being Doctor Strange, and the other one that was who was trying to break the fixed point. Mm-hmm. And then they battle, and of course, the evil one
Strange
wins, and then he finds out that even though he broke this fixed point, he still can't save Christine. Mm-hmm. He still is losing everything, and he's now drastically changed the world, or that particular what-if scenario realm or mm-hmm. variant trajectory in life. And the unique part is there was actually dialogue between Uatu the Watcher and Doctor Strange, because Doctor Strange, gaining all his power and not being able to harness it, reaches out and says, "Hey, I see you. Help me." And he says, "I'm not here to help. I'm here only to witness." Mm-hmm. And it kind of ends there, where it's not necessarily a cliffhanger.
No. He's gone. Remember, because his entire universe dissolves.
I thought he was in this ball.
He
in this glow.
Was the ball crushed?
I
thought it was.
I think he was dissipating, and he didn't know how to stop it, so he basically
created that
sand shoot himself into a ball.
Because I remember the crystalline thing that he made to save him and her, but she ended up dissolving. Yeah. And then everything went black. So, and I thought it got crushed afterwards, but I don't know. I have to rewatch it again.
Yeah. The interesting thing is that is the first What If episode that has continuity with other What If episodes. So the Captain Carter, there was a tentacle monster. Some think it's Shunguroth. Some think it's just a succubus. Some think it's
Cthulhu.
Yeah, Cthulhu. But that tentacle monster is absorbed, or one that looks very similar to the one that Captain Carter faced, gets absorbed, and it just gives him added power on top of that.
That's the final one that he absorbs, that he finally amasses the power that he thinks he needs.
Right.
And then he realizes that he doesn't have enough power, right? He needs to merge with his other half.
So again, the episode is entertaining, different flip. I like this one more than killing all the Mightiest Heroes.
Oh, 100%.
And I enjoyed also just this kind of the subtle changes in Doctor Strange and his cloak and his appearance. He looks very haggard by the end of it. He looks like he just hasn't
He has dark circles around his eyes.
Looks like he's been on a couple benders.
Yeah. Well, his cape makes him look like Dracula now instead of like more of a sorcerer. Which was a kind of a cool touch. He actually takes the cape from the Beetle.
Yeah.
He takes the cape from one of the monsters he absorbs. He's like, "Oh, neat cape," and he throws it on, and you're like, I see what you did there.
So, good episode. Yet again, each episode I think is good. They just don't hit it out of the park.
I personally, I like the Doctor Strange one because it was more of a travesty, like a tragedy story, And I enjoyed it just because I like, Bender, or... well, what's his name? Benjamin? Cumberbatch?
Cumberbatch. Benedict Cumberbatch.
Benedict. Yes, thank you.
You were thinking Michael Fassbender.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah,
Not Magneto, Dr. Strange.
Yeah. Well, I love Michael Fassbender, just for the record. But anyway, man crush. But, yeah, so anyway, he, which coincidentally, he'll be Magneto, hopefully. But,
yeah, we'll see.
I hope.
What if,
yes. But, yeah, Fassbender. But yeah, we, so I really enjoyed this one. I thought it was neat. I liked, I'm not really a big Doctor Strange guy. He's okay.
Right.
But like the movie, meh. Like it was alright. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. It was alright. But never really read a lot of Doctor Strange either, I'll admit.
It was the movie, not this episode. Both do fall in the category. It was visually beautiful. The thing is for the movie, in my opinion, the whole Dormammu thing at the end is just kind of like, okay, we get it. You outsmarted him. You rascally rabbit.
Yeah. But oh yeah, go ahead.
No, that was done.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it overall. I think it was good. It was interesting to just see how like him evolve into a villain essentially,
right.
Which was kind of neat. The split thing was kind of weird, I thought, because it's like, how can you have two Doctor Strange living in the same universe doing totally different things and not notice each other?
Well, A,
did they mention it?
Magic.
Yeah.
B, the original good-hearted Doctor Strange was living out his life protecting the Sanctum Sanctorum.
True.
And the evil...
That's right, he went
back in time to research.
That's right.
And then confined himself and started casting dark creatures out and absorbing them.
Well, he went back in time to the library.
Yes.
That's right. Yeah.
So they wouldn't have intersected till the point of his manifestation of power versus the good Steve.
True. Okay. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Good point.
But I mean, yeah, like you said, good episode, entertaining. I like the creatures in it personally.
Yeah.
And we'll kind of transition to episode 5.
Yeah.
Which I believe is Shaf's favorite one, which is one of the zombies.
No, my favorite is still T'Challa.
Okay.
But this one I enjoyed thoroughly. I read a review on it on IGN, and they just blasted it, and I was like, oh damn it! I was really had high hopes on this one, and then I went into it and I watched it, and I was like, oh, this guy was totally wrong. Thank God.
Right.
And I enjoyed it wholeheartedly. Like, it's dumb humor. It's a popcorn episode.
Right.
Through and through, 1000%. Like, if you're looking for something that has gut punches like the Hank Pym story or Doctor Strange or something like that, it's not this.
Right.
But with what they went with it, because it's like, it's more along the lines of if you mashed Walking Dead a little bit, I suppose, which I'm sure is not a coincidence.
Yeah, because the Zombies original was written by Robert Kirkman.
That's right, and illustrated by Charlie, I think it's Charlie Aldair or something like that. I can't remember. I'll throw it up there, of course. But they did that series. I know I talked about it in the previous video, but this one's actually pretty good. They kind of went with the ragtag team of people, leftovers, which was neat. Like Sharon Carter was in it, which, she wasn't in the first episode. But there was her, and Hope.
Happy.
Oh yeah, that's
Happy
right.
Hogan,
Yeah.
Hope Van Dyne,
Mm-hmm.
the one Dermalage girl with the bald head, the African American girl.
Oh, it starts with an O.
Okay.
It's like Okama or something like that, I think, or something like that.
It's not Okami, but yeah.
No, not it's. I think it's Okama.
Yeah.
So something like
you
that.
have Spider-Man, and you have Hulk, who was the one that started the episode. I liked a lot in terms of the episode that a lot of the framing is very similar to the theatrical source material that they draw upon. So when Hulk crushes through at the beginning of Infinity War through the Sanctum Sanctorum, was done almost shot for shot.
Yeah.
You have lines being recycled, which is nice because not only do you kind of get it if you watch the show enough or the movie enough, I like the concept of zombies. I'm not a huge horror or zombie fan, but I think I like the episode overall. It didn't probably hit on as many levels as it did for you. I did find some of it a little disappointing.
What's that? Which one in particular?
It just, it seemed almost predictable.
Sure.
And honestly, probably due to the fact that I was working so much, I did kind of doze off a little bit.
Oh, sure. So, I dozed off on Killmonger, unfortunately.
But no, it was a unique concept. Like you said, it was left on a particular cliffhanger because the zombie Thanos has 5 out of the 6 Infinity Gems.
Yeah, because they have the Time Stone.
Yeah, he's already in Wakanda, and that's where they're headed. So
the Time Stone, right? No, what did Vision have? He had the Mind Stone. Excuse me, yes. Mind Stone.
And so, it was a really good episode, and I enjoyed it.
I just thought it was cool. I liked what they did with Vision. Yeah. Instead of it being Wanda that was so broken up about the death, he was broken up about Wanda's death.
Right.
And he basically imprisoned her and fed her fucking superheroes, which was disgusting. That's actually in, I think that's in Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a video game or something like that, or maybe this mind's got so much garbage in it, it's all blended together now. But there's something like that where it's like they capture people, they keep them alive, right, and they just take bits out of what needed.
The other interesting notes,
and it was T'Challa, by the way.
I was like, feeding him?
But no, they were. He was feeding T'Challa to Wanda.
Right. That's what I was saying.
Oh, yeah.
The interesting things on top of that is just, the origin of this particular virus came from Janet Van Dyne in the quantum realm. She falls into this virus, and Hank goes to save her, and she attacks him, and then they go back to the realm, and then they spread it amongst the world. Which, oddly enough, it was actually a Watcher that originally allowed it to spread in the zombie world. So a Watcher in that zombie realm allowed that virus to spread to other avenues. It's interesting.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
And then secondarily, I like because the first person to get attacked or patient zero in the real world or the real realm was Ant-Man.
Hank Pym.
Not Hank Pym. Out of
yeah.
Scott Lang.
Yep, Scott Lang.
And the thing is to save him, they just Futurama his head. So they're like the President Hall.
Well, because he was a zombie. Vision had found a way to reverse the effects, but obviously, if you're decayed in certain places, you can't get everything back. Right. And so he just put his head in a jar. Right.
And the funny thing is he has the cloak of I forget the name. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
And it's funny because he uses Wingardium Leviosa, which is the flying cast in Harry Potter. So I love the pop culture references in there also.
Oh yeah, it was cool. And then there was a moment that Peter Parker put the cloak on too, and I forget who. I think it was Hope that said, "Hey, that looks good on you," which was kind of a cool maybe they'll do something with the Sorcerer Supreme Spider-Man. That would be neat, but. It's interesting in the manner of it was good. It wasn't. It's a good sit back, watch some sinister twist on a Marvel universe, which was kind of neat, and I think they did it justice. If you're not really a zombie guy, then this isn't really going to probably ring for you.
Right.
So I will say that, but for me, I gobble them up. I'm kind of tired of it, I'll admit. I don't watch Walking Dead anymore. That's settled its course, and I don't really watch zombie movies anymore. But once in a while.
Yeah. That kind of leads us into the last episode that has aired so far, which is the Killmonger episode.
Yeah.
And it's basically what if Killmonger saved Tony Stark in Afghanistan?
Yeah.
So instead of him being imprisoned by the now known 10 Rings, and then building the original Mach 1, defeating the Ten Rings gang, then going back and then becoming the first superhero in terms of just I don't know, technically Captain America's first superhero, but that whole story arc and stuff.
Yeah.
So it was a really, really good episode. I didn't fall asleep in this one, but I love the twist. There's a lot of shock and awe value. and also just the amount of deaths that Killmonger did, and it's fitting that Killmonger kills. Right?
Yeah, I mean, like for me, this one wasn't surprising. You
Right.
know, I always known Killmonger's just not a good person.
Right.
So it's like, you know, I always knew that his plan is to eventually become the biggest dude, the biggest fattest dude, and so it's like, you know, I always had that idea, like, okay, he's gonna slowly dismantle everything as he goes along, and he did. He dismantled fucking everything.
Yeah, I mean, in his kill count, in terms of just notable people, he kills Tony Stark, Rhodey, excuse me,
Right.
and then T'Challa in kind of one fell swoop, and probably within like 5 minutes real time, in a day and a half, in like
Well, because he kills Rhodey first, then he
kills T'Challa first.
Is it T'Challa?
He uses the gun, puts it to like higher than stun, and then does one solid blast to his head, and he's down. And then Rhodey is just like, well, no, you can't do that. You know, what are you doing? Why are you killing people? It's like, you know, and he rips off his American flag off the side of his arm, and it's like basically like, you can't do this. You have to fight for what's right. You can't just cut to the end. And he's like, I can do whatever I want. Takes the Black Panther claws, goes right into his chest.
That's right.
And then, you know, because Stark is paranoid and a tech genius, he finds out that, you know, Killmonger's the one who kills him, and then he uses his tech to try to kill it. And of course, Killmonger outsmarts Tony and the robot, and kills Tony. And so, you know, it's an interesting journey. I like just how methodical and how thought out his plan was. Yes, it's predictable, but like some of the things he did, the way that he went about doing it was surprising.
Yeah. Well, I'm a big Michael B. Jordan fan, so it was nice having him back in the role, and like, you know, him as Killmonger is always neat. I mean, I think he's basically acts like Killmonger in real life, essentially, but you know, he just like the smooth, like cool cucumber man, you know. So, I liked it. I enjoyed it. I fell asleep at the end, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I didn't get to see the monster fight or the robot fight at the end.
Yeah.
I fell asleep, I think, shortly after Rhodes died.
Yeah.
But
so, I mean, I think if we just kind of go as a whole, like the What If series is definitely new, fresh, and interesting, and there's definitely high points. I think as an overall series at this point, in terms of like a grade, if you will, in terms of the other things that have come out, I know we're going to be a lot more drawn to the live action, but it's entertaining, but I don't love it as much as the live action shows right now.
the arbitrary... Oh, yeah. I'll agree. I mean, a lot of it, too, is, I think, like the voice actor changes kind of get me a little bit now and again, where I'm like, that doesn't sound like, you know, Tony, or it doesn't sound like Steve.
Right.
But, you know, that's some of the stuff that's honestly probably my biggest complaint is the voice acting, like with the series so far.
Right.
Is I think it's been very hit or miss. Either they fucking nail it with certain characters, and then they'll have another character in the same fucking episode, and you're just like, oh, what were they thinking? Like,
Right.
I hate to say this, but you know, Sebastian Stan in the first episode, I was just like, what the? Like, it wasn't. But then he was in the later one, like Zombies. Was it Zombies? It was Zombies, right?
Yes.
And like he was in that one, badass as hell, and he was actually decent. Like, so it's like it could be the directing.
Well, I mean, the thing is what I've watched, and I watched way too much analysis is on Disney, and not Disney, but like Marvel things. But like, you have to realize, like, you're taking people who act as actors, who use not only their voice, their eyes, their body, and then you're trying to get them to convey that same emotion with just their voice.
Yeah, but have you ever watched voice actors though when they're recording? Like they literally act it out.
Yeah, but there's a difference between like, is it Ron Paulson? Not Ron Paulson. The guy who does like Pinky and all that, and Donatello. There's a difference between how he performs and conveys his voice than if you took Sebastian Stan, who doesn't really do voice acting, and try to get them to get to that same level, right?
Well, but he's playing a character he played already in live action, though. That's kind of like, I mean, I get what you're saying, but I like respectfully disagree, only in the fact that, like, you know, if you can nail it in live action, I think you could nail it behind a microphone.
I think there's a couple more layers to that particular onion. But on top of that, I would also love to see, you know, Sebastian Stan say point to Narf.
Yeah. I would like to see him as Luke Skywalker. Right, that. Do that. But, correct the mistakes that were made. For God's sakes, God. But yeah, so, that's always kind of, like, that's my biggest gripe of this series. And I'll also say, like, the 30-minute time, slot that they've been doing for all the episodes is good enough, but I kind of feel like now, like I said, it sounds like they're continuing the stories in later episodes, right. So maybe they'll do that. But I also feel like it's a little short. Right. By the time the episode ends, I was like, damn, like, right. Because everything's kind of fast forwarded, because essentially, like, think about this: the Killmonger one is basically Iron Man 1 through 2, sort of, right?
No.
Because Rhodes wasn't really a big part until the second film.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's 1 and 2.
But, yeah, and like things like that. And then, of course, Captain Carter is the entire first Avenger movie.
Yep.
And then, Zombies is its own thing. Doctor Strange is kind of the first film, I guess. But really, it only focuses on Christine and him trying to get her back.
Yeah.
So it condenses it supremely. hey. But yeah, so anyway, I give it a B.
A B?
A solid B. Not a B plus, not a B minus, just average.
No, I mean, C is average, but yes.
True. See, I always look at it like, yeah, true.
I would agree with the B, just because like, when it hits, it hits. When it doesn't, it's just a little lost. None of the episodes are D or E or F level.
No.
There's definitely some C minus ones just kind of in there, which are just like, okay, but I could have went without it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we'll have to see what the last 3 episodes kind of hold. We have to see what if season 2 holds, and the staying power. Like, it's new, it's fresh and exciting. But if you hit a year 3, a year 4, you're just going to be like, all right, I don't need to see this stuff anymore. I don't care.
Well, they're keeping it tight with the episodes. So sure. It's not like each episode's an hour long.
Sure.
1. And then 2, they're only doing 9, right? 9 episodes? So it's like, that's not really that much when you all kind of boil it down. Like, a real season for a show is generally 12 to 24, so...
But mind you also, this is a Disney Plus, and like, I think WandaVision was like 7... Loki was like 8, and then like Captain Falcon and Winter Soldier was like 6 or 7.
I think, yeah.
So I think that sweet spot of that much is probably afforded in the relative budget, but still, like, they're trying to make sure that, honestly, it's just a gigantic game of Connect 4 or something to the effect of line.
Honestly, for me, I feel like this is just them like seeing like. It's a huge R&D, like you said in the beginning. It's just a huge R&D, like, let's see what the fuck works. Throw it up there. And I think it's a brilliant idea, because it's like, like we said in the other video, it's a cartoon. It's the overhead cost on it's a lot lower than the live action, obviously.
Right.
Fucking thousands of people in the credits, like, sitting in the after film.
And the interesting thing is, the structure now, if this is something that's going to be sustainable, there is no more than, I believe, like 3 weeks between some sort of big Marvel event. So, like, you had WandaVision go into Captain Falcon Winter Soldier, that went into Loki with some mild gaps, but now that you're throwing movies in there, so in the middle of Loki, you had Black Widow, Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi's been out 2 weeks?
2 weeks. And then you also have, the Eternals, you have Spider-Man, you have Hawkeye coming out around Christmas time, so you really can't get away from the Marvel.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing I find, I don't know, I'll be interested to see what the Eternals film's like. I mean, I know diddly dick on the Eternals, and really don't care to research it, to be very honest.
Right.
I know they got big name actors and all of it, but it's just like I'm just kind of like.
I think Eternals will be kind of like Guardians in the fact of you don't expect it to be amazing, but it's surprisingly amazing. It's not going to hit as hard as Guardians, where you're like, oh my god, I loved it, because of the humor involved. There's no humor. It's going to be a serious movie. But I think it'll hit a lot more impactfully than you anticipate it will.
Yeah.
And,
Sure.
And to the rumor mill, and rumor mill is just a bunch of garbage till it actually sticks, right? I hear that there's going to be some thing or reveal that is going to be so gigantic it's going to change the MCU, which naturally I think they're just going to introduce the mutants in that movie. And that's why it's going to be so all-encompassing and amazing.
Could be, because the Eternals are essentially old beings, right, or something like that.
So the Eternals were created by the Celestials, and the Celestials made like 3 different type of people or races. There's the humans who are normal. There is whatever the variant strain that Thanos had that made him look all crazy looking, and then you have your like eternal people with powers. And I think they put a gene in the humans, but it was a delayed gene to mutate, and that mutation is what we. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. We'll be there watching it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And we'll probably come back if time permits a Shang-Chi kind of review.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. He has. You know, I'm just one of those people. Like, I'll go see a movie by myself. I have no problem with that. But honestly, it's just one of those films where it's like, I don't really know a hell of a lot about Shang-Chi, and I'm not saying that it's not like, it's just, for me, I know it sounds bad, but it's like, ever since COVID's hit, I don't have a drive to go to the theater anymore. Like, it's not because of COVID, it's just because I have such a supreme setup in my room, I'll admit. So it's like...
The other thing is, do you really want to be locked in a box with 80 to 100 people?
That's just it. It's like, I could watch it at home and be uninterrupted. And I could pause it to take a piss. Like, you know, it's nice. So it's the future, guys. It's the future.
The thing is what, like, I think...
Hollywood's holding on to the theater system so bad right now.
I think the contract is like 45 days or like 3.5 weeks that it's in theaters, and then they'll put on the Disney Plus. Mm-hmm. So we'll see how it goes. But, you know, we always like sharing our opinions on Marvel. We want to hear your opinions of our opinions, or just sharing comments in general. We would like to see you guys subscribe, like, and all that wonderfulness. So,
we'll
see you next time on Channel Couch 12.